Hello my friends, we are back at the Audioholics Smart House. We're in the theater room, in the pre-construction phase, throwing cables throughout the room, getting this ready for a state-of-the-art. I don't even remember how many speakers are in here, John. It's like a
13.4 right now.
Something, 9.4.6. I don't even remember. I gotta like think of the numbers in my head. But I want to talk to you guys about the cabling and what we're doing, why we have a media closet here. This was all Don's idea because I was gonna just throw everything in the front of the room like I did in my old house. Don's like, we need to really bring this up a notch, make it look more professional, make it more serviceable, make it easier for me to swap equipment in and out. So he came up with the idea of building the media closet in the back of the room, making it big enough so I could actually get back there, get behind the equipment, do the rewirings when I change out equipment, have a service light in there, have an exhaust fan to keep the heat out, all that kind of great stuff. Don, I want you to talk about all the cabling and how you guys decided to come up with a plan of doing what you did here, the Smurf tubing, all that other stuff. Why don't you give us a little rundown of what's going on?
Well, Gene, on every single theater that we do, the location of the equipment is critical. The equipment has to have, we call it where the equipment lives. It has to have proper space for service. It has to have proper thermal cooling on it, so the equipment overheats very, very easily, which will degrade the lifespan of the equipment and access to it. And also, if you have any sources like a Blu-ray player or some hard digital media that needs to go into it. Now, in your case was different. Every theater I design is a little bit different. In Gene's case, we had a 25 by 20 room. Is that correct?
Yes.
So
yeah.
It was a pretty good sized space. We did have to wall in the front because we're going to do an acoustically transparent screen, and to bring the center channel at the correct height, we're going to have a kind of an in-wall or in-cabinet version of the front tower speakers done, so that that front stage correctly points back. On the side, we furred out the walls. We were going to bring it in a little further and do flush mount, but we didn't want to eat up too much space in the room because these rooms sound big on paper, but once you start putting stuff into them, it eats it up. So in Gene's case, Gene at Audioholics is always testing equipment. See, he needed a space where the equipment could be loaded, put into a room. The cables were marked and labeled, could be landed onto the equipment, and he could begin testing on it, and something that was easily accessible. The old house was kind of a pain. You had to put the rails on the rack, pull it out, hard to access, and that was kind of the way people did things years ago. So I designed a small cabinet space in here. Now I know acoustically it's not the perfect thing, but it's nothing we can't work around with. Dialing it in and EQing the room when we do all the adjustments.
Maybe on some of the walls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do here is we've got a cutout, and we're going to put a 44 space flush mount rack frame in. It's just going to be a rack frame. Then we're going to take and we're going to put molding around it. So all the equipment will face out into the room. Then we'll kind of decorate it with panels and plates that go, so it's a solid rack going across. Now, if Gene needs to hit any buttons, do anything to the equipment, all your controls, your manual controls are on the front. But also, we're going to have a door that opens up. In this room, we're going to have an AC return and a temperature control exhaust fan. And using natural convection, we're going to pull cooler air in from down below. The room will be relatively sealed, and that will then, using convection, take all the heat and then suck it up into and cool it down in the system. A lot of people put AC vents in rooms, and you don't really want to do that, because what you're doing is, as heat rises, you're injecting cooler air into a room, and it's just kind of swirling around. Really doesn't have a place to go. It's trying to escape out into the room, and it doesn't really properly cool or get any kind of flow going. Also, if you live north of Georgia, you're probably going to use your heater a lot. Not really a big issue in Florida. You're going to kick your heater on, you don't want to blow heat into it. So a return is a good idea, or even better, one of the temperature control exhaust fans. In this case, I believe we're going to use a Mid-Atlantic product that at a certain level it reaches, it'll kick in and it'll vent all of that warm air out into space. So Gene will be able to come in here. He's going to have access to the rack. We added 2 dedicated 20 amp circuits. We want plenty of power in this room, so when he's running powerful amps that you more often than not test, we want everything to have a proper amount of power. We even have the run from the projector, a piece of Romax coming back, and that's going to turn into a plug. It's not actually an outlet. We're going to be able to plug that projector into the same circuit and then have that into the surge protection power conditioning system, so we get the best video. So we really didn't miss a lick on that. We've got a piece of flex pipe or Smurf 2 that runs from this rack to the primary rack. This is a secondary rack kind of dedicated to the theater. However, with video distribution, and we're able to send audio and video from the main system that'll be able to be played in this room, as well as your own local sources like your Oppo Blu-ray player. Rest in peace.
UDP 205.
Rest in peace.
Yep.
And there's room in here that's not a real tight space. So as the heat's created, it's got a little bit of a room to work and not get so super hot. You'll be able to put cables, test discs, any kind of ancillary products that you might need. You'll have room to work with here with a door that seals closed. We'll have a little bit of space on the bottom, maybe even cut a vent into it so that cooler air from the room will be drawn into it and then sucked out into the return into the exhaust of it. So it's just a really smart way to do this, especially for Audioholics that's constantly changing equipment and gear around.
So you guys heard that. This is a really cool media rack that we're building here, multi-function, multi-purpose. It allows me to upgrade, change equipment out over time, because you guys always want to see me review the next receiver, the next processor, the next amplifier. I'll be way easier, more equipped to do that in this room, in this setup, thanks to HD 2020's design. And thanks to the fact that I had my builder able to accommodate this for us, because it's a production home builder and I got them to pull some strings.
Plus it's going to look cool when this is all what we call groomed out, and it's got all the face plates and custom plates on it. Everything sits in there nice. It'll look really super slick. Lots of cool lights. Now a lot of times when we do this, we'll put like an opaque door on it, something that kind of covers the lights, but this one doesn't really affect anything, and it's going to kind of look cool as well. There's always a cool factor, right?
So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a playlist on all these videos related to the Audioholics Smart Home. The next thing we're going to be talking about is the cabling in this room and the speaker configuration. So make sure you subscribe to the playlist. If you like this video, thumb it up, share it, share the wealth. Tell everybody about this. We're documenting this whole process from start to finish. Don't forget about our Patreon channel at patreon.com/audioholics. I put unique content there. I give you guys early access to content that's not published here yet. There's just a lot of perks to being on our Patreon. So I think this is a wrap. And until next time, my friends, keep listening.
I've seen the few that Don's posted, but I haven't really been before. I was never a big, like, audio guy, to say the least, but now getting in this industry, it's a different animal.